Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcasts.
Today we're looking at Lithium Americas Corp, or LAC. This stock is trading around $6.06, and the big question is it a good time to buy now?
We want to hear from you. Subscribe, like, and comment to support the show. And if there's a specific company you want us to look into, leave it in the comments below.
So let's get into the analysis. For you, the listener, LAC is really a pure play lithium opportunity. It's all tied into that accelerating global energy transition.
Okay, pure play. Let's just clarify that quickly. What does that signal to someone considering an investment?
It's critical, really. It means that their fate is tied directly to lithium. No diversification into, say, copper or gold. It's a focused bet on battery materials demand, specifically U.S.-based.
Got it. And it all hinges on one major asset.
Exactly. The Thacker Pass project in Nevada. I mean, this thing is huge, cited as one of the world's largest known lithium resources, but production isn't slated to start until 2028.
2028, that does feel quite distant. So why would an investor wait? What's the potential reward for that patience?
Well, there are two main pillars, I'd say. First, the projected competitive advantage. Once they're up and running, LAC is expected to operate in the bottom half of the global cost curve.
Bottom half of the cost curve. In a commodity business like lithium, that's pretty significant, isn't it?
It's absolutely key for survival and profitability, especially if lithium prices get volatile. Low-cost producers weather the storms. And underpinning that is the technology.
The technology aspect.
Right. Thacker Pass is set to be the first commercial-scale, clay-based lithium asset.
Clay-based. Okay, why is that specific geology and processing method so important for the investment case?
Because it suggests potential technical leadership, maybe even some proprietary IP. If they nail this extraction method at scale, it creates a real barrier for competitors. Plus, they're planning an integrated model.
Meaning they refine it on-site.
Exactly. Refining to battery-grade lithium chemical right there. That integration usually means much higher margins compared to just selling a raw concentrate.
So a potential tech edge, aiming for low costs and higher margins through integration. That sounds compelling but risky. What about validation? Is anyone else buying into this vision?
That's the other pillar, strategic validation. And yes, it's significant. General Motors has taken a huge 38% stake in the Thacker Pass project itself.
38%? That's more than just a vote of confidence. That's a serious commitment.
It really is. It comes with offtake agreements, basically guaranteeing a buyer for a chunk of their future production. That drastically reduces future revenue risk.
A major automaker as an anchor customer. Okay. And there's also talk about government involvement.
Yes, there are ongoing reports, speculation at this stage, perhaps, but reports that the U.S. government might consider taking an equity stake, too.
Wow. That would align with all the focus on domestic supply chains, things like the IRA.
Precisely. It adds this layer of geopolitical backing and, frankly, could imply significant financial support down the line, which helps de-risk the whole execution phase.
Which they'll definitely need, because let's pivot to the financials. This is a company building something massive, so the current picture must look, well, expensive.
That's the reality check, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're pre-revenue, so earnings are negative. The trailing 12 months show a net loss of around $52.86 million. EPS is negative $0.24.
And cash flow.
Negative free cash flow, as you'd expect during heavy construction. They are burning cash, and investors need to watch that burn rate very closely.
Right. So a $1.66 billion market cap suggests the market sees the future value. But how strong is the balance sheet right now to get them through this build phase?
It got a significant boost recently. In October 2025, they drew down the first tranche, about $435 million from that big Department of Energy ATVM loan.
The Advanced Technology Vehicles Manufacturing Loan, that's government debt, right?
Yeah.
Aimed at EV supply chains.
Exactly. It's relatively low-cost capital and huge validation. But is $435 million enough for the whole multi-billion-dollar project, especially with inflation? No.
So that leads us straight to the hurdles between now and 2028. What are the big ones?
Number one is construction execution risk. Plain and simple. Can they build it on time, on budget? Potential cost overruns, delays. And remember, this clay-based tech is novel at this scale. There could be technical hiccups.
You're betting heavily on management's ability to execute flawlessly under pressure.
You really are. And that ties into the second major hurdle, financing risk. They will need more capital beyond that DOE loan to finish construction.
And raising that capital could mean
It could mean dilution for current shareholders, depending on market conditions when they need to raise the funds. That's a key risk that could impact returns even if the project ultimately succeeds.
Okay, that definitely explains the stock's volatility. Let's talk about that. What are the technicals telling us?
Extreme volatility is the headline. The stock's beta is 3.45.
3.45. So for you listening, that means that the S&P 500 moves 1%. LAC tends to move about 3.5%. Very high octane.
It really mirrors that binary outcome, huge success or significant setbacks. Technically, right now around $6.06, the picture is, well, constructive, but requires caution.
Constructive how?
It's trading above its 50-day moving average, which is around $5. That's a key level for the medium-term trend. It's also well above the 200-day average at $3.40, so the broader uptrend is technically still in place.
So that $5 level on the 50-day is one to watch for support.
Definitely. A break below that would be a warning sign for the uptrend. Momentum-wise, the 14-day RSI is around 55.44. It's pretty neutral.
Neutral RSI, meaning it's not immediately overbought. It has room to run if positive news hits.
Exactly. It's not flashing warning signs of being too hot right now. And market sentiment, looking at the Fear and Greed Index, is currently at 39, which is in the fear zone.
Contrarians might see opportunity there, but maybe it just reflects the genuine uncertainty we've been talking about.
Could be. And that uncertainty is really reflected in what the analysts are saying. They seem quite divided.
How so? What's the consensus?
Surprisingly, the Analyst Consensus rating is actually a reduce. The average 12-month price target is about $5.30.
So the average analyst thinks it might actually go down from $6.06 over the next year. That's cautious.
It is. But here's the interesting part. The range of those targets is enormous. The low is down at $3.50, pricing in serious execution failure. But the high target is up at $8.
$8, that's what, over 30% upside from here?
Roughly 32% upside, yes. That massive disagreement just highlights how difficult it is to price this execution risk. If things go well, the potential jump is significant, justifying that high beta.
Okay, so for someone thinking about buying, what are the near-term things to watch? What catalyst could move the needle in the next, say, 0 to 3 months?
The most immediate is the Q3 2025 earnings release, scheduled for November 5th.
And what are people looking for there? Not revenue, obviously.
No, definitely not revenue. Two key things. First, clear evidence that the DOE money is actually accelerating construction, progress updates, photos, milestones. Second, updates on the cash burn rate, and crucially, any changes to the total project CapEx estimate.
If that CapEx number jumps significantly higher, that increases the future dilution risk we mentioned.
Precisely. And then there's the big speculative catalyst.
The potential U.S. government equity stake.
Right. Any concrete news or even a resolution on that front would be huge. If the government confirms a stake, it's probably the single biggest de-risking event possible for the project's financing. It could make that $8 target seem much more achievable.
Anything else? Maybe more mechanical market stuff to be aware of towards year-end?
Yeah, keep an eye on index and ETF rebalancing around November 30th.
Yeah.
Given recent share issuance, there could be some forced buying or selling from institutions just based on mechanics, causing some temporary volatility.
Okay. And just general construction updates through the holidays will be important too, right? To maintain confidence heading into 2026.
Absolutely. Consistent progress is key. So, pulling it all together, world-class strategic asset, crucial for the U.S. supply chain, but deeply discounted because it's pre-revenue with significant execution risk. What's the investment horizon look like?
Yeah, given that trade-off, what time frame makes the most sense for potentially capturing the upside here?
The analysis really points towards medium-term investors. We're talking a 1 to 3 year horizon.
1 to 3 years. Why that specific time frame? Not shorter, not necessarily ultra long-term.
Well, a short-term trader is likely to get absolutely whipsawed by that high beta, too much volatility. But the 1 to 3 year time frame allows an investor to potentially capture the value increase as the project gets de-risked.
So it's not about earnings yet. It's about hitting construction milestones through 2026, 2027, reducing that execution risk premium currently baked into the price.
Exactly. That sequential de-risking is what drives the share price appreciation in this phase, leading up to that 2028 production start.
And for someone taking that medium-term view, how should they approach actually buying the stock given the volatility?
A staged accumulation strategy seems most prudent. Maybe start with an initial position, but keep some powder dry to add more if the stock pulls back, especially towards key support levels like that 50-day moving average around $5.
So dollar cost averaging, essentially, but maybe more tactical, adding on dips.
It's sort of, yeah. It helps manage the entry point volatility and mitigate some of that dilution risk if they do need to raise cash when the stock price is lower. You lower your average cost over time.
Okay, so to wrap up, the LAC story isn't about Q3 earnings or next quarter's revenue. It's fundamentally about the strategic value of domestically sourced lithium in the U.S. It's about Thacker Pass.
That's it. The resource value is clear. The big question, the multi-billion-dollar question, is can management execute? Can they turn that clay into battery chemicals efficiently and on schedule by 2028?
You're essentially buying that execution risk, but it comes with significant backing from GM and potentially the U.S. government. You're betting that the strategic imperative here overcomes the typical hurdles of building a large, novel mining project. That's the core bet.